What's up, everybody? Anthony here, Empire Music, empiremusic.com. Phone number at the shop, 412-343-5299. Today, showing you a new model for Fender. That's always exciting, right? The giants in the industry come out with a new model, and sometimes they change it up drastically, sometimes they don't. This one is a little bit, I wouldn't say so far outside of the box, but they're adding some features that make a lot of sense for a lot of different players, right? So what we're looking at today is the Player 2 Modified series in the Precision bass. This one's in Sunshine Yellow. It is the only one that we have in stock at the time. So in this video, I won't be showing you other finishes. I won't be showing you the rosewood option on the neck. We got just the maple neck on this. When we get the rosewood in, we'll do a separate video on that for sure. You never have to ask me twice to shoot more content and to play some more bass here while I'm getting paid to do it, right? It's a great position to be in. Spec-wise, very straightforward in it, but they've added some twists to the Player 2 series. Some are familiar with some previous iterations. There is one feature in this that I am like so happy they added, and it's very, very simple. Some of you might guess what it is if you've seen me talk about some of their active basses in the past. But it's nice to see it on a Mexican series instrument here. So, alder body, right? Colorway on this too. I'm just gonna take a second and talk about that. So, chances are, you know, being that we're such big Fender custom shop dealers here, and we've had so much success with our Empire 58 Precision basses in Butterscotch Blonde, I am 100% certain that the giant corporation known as Fender, outside of the custom shop, normal, traditional Fender, has taken note of the success of that line and that colorway, and they had to have just said, we want to be like Empire Music. We got to piggyback on what they're doing. So a colorway, we do great with Butterscotch Blonde and the Empire 58 is what I'm saying, and I'm joking. I'm sure they don't care about that. But this colorway in the Sunshine Yellow looks a lot like Butterscotch Blonde with the black pick guard on it. Looks great, got that kind of telly vibe to it. There's a little bit of metallic flake in here. When I first saw this, I was like, oh, it's just Butterscotch Blonde. Why wouldn't they call it Butterscotch Blonde? When you see it in the light here, and I'm sure from this angle it won't do it justice. If you click the links below, if you're watching this on YouTube, this is the only place it's going, so you probably are. You can get to our Fender inventory and you can see up close photos of this. We have a great staff here when it comes to photography, and we do a very good job of representing the colorways so you know exactly what you're getting. Also, Justin and Joe mention this all the time in their videos. I get so enthused about playing bass and showing off basses that I forget to. On our website, when you take a look at this bass or any bass on there, there's going to be a little 5-digit serial number in the listing. It's not the full serial number. It's usually the last 5 digits of the serial. That tells you that that exact guitar or bass is what you're looking at. So we photo every single instrument, and we get, you know, unique photos for every single instrument. We never use a stock photo. Only time you might see that would be on like the inexpensive Squire things, or if you're looking at a pedal or something like that, we'd use a stock photo in that case. But anytime you see that 5-digit code on there, you're looking at that exact instrument. And also on the website, we do offer free shipping on just about everything. There's financing options from 6 months up to 36 months, depending on what you're looking for. Also, trades. We've been doing a lot of business with the trade-in stuff over the past year. We just ran a trade-in event here in the shop for an extended period of time. So if you have something to trade in, even on something like this, something higher end, we're happy to you know, talk to you about that. Hopefully we can work out a deal. If you're on the website, in the top there, you'll see a little tab that says Sell Your Gear. Click right on that, and you will submit a form to us. You can include some pictures, let us know what you have, let us know what you're looking for. We'll reach back out to you, or just call the shop. Again, 412-343-5299. You can also just email me directly. It's anthony@empiremusic.com. So back to the bass, right? And I don't even know where I left off on that, right? We were talking about the finish, right? So, okay, alder body, beautiful colorway, cool. Pickup wise, you'll notice this is a P bass. You'll notice there are 2 pickups on that. It looks like 3, but this is 1 pickup. If you're not familiar with a P bass, that is a split coil on there, so that's really 1 pickup. You have a jazz bass pickup here in the bridge. I've shown PJ configurations off before. We'll walk through some of the sounds. high mass bridge. We've seen that before on Fender stuff. We like seeing it on Fender stuff, especially when they tend to try to elevate the line a little bit. That's a nice addition to it. Sustain, tuning stability, adjustability, all that stuff. Active electronics. Now this is where my favorite feature comes in, right? Active electronics. I do like active electronics, but that's not what I'm talking about. Volume, pickup panning, mid-range, treble, bass, active, passive switch, right? So, what's really cool about this, when you're in passive mode, which I think is down, we'll find that out together in real time. I hope so, because I played the whole intro in passive then, or hopefully I played it in active. There is this little stacked knob here, and that gives you, finally, on a Mexican series bass, passive tone control, right? They listened to all of us, collectively, the hive mind. We did it with Fender. We convinced them, just put passive tone control on the bass, please. Really cool. Modern C neck, which feels a little bit on the slim side to me, just a slight thinner than a standard C. And again, familiar neck shape in a player series, familiar neck shape across the whole Fender kind of lineup, so to speak. 9.5 fretboard radius. They've added the rolled fretboard edges that we saw on the Player 2 series. That's nice. This is cool. You got a Tusk nut on that. So it's not just a cheap plastic nut they put on this, which oftentimes you would see on Mexican series instrument. They have a Graphtec Tusk nut on that. So while not a bone nut, hard, dense wood, or dense material, sounds good. 1.625 nut spacing, so modern P-bass spacing. That's cool. I'm a big fan of the vintage thing. I like it super wide, but I don't love the jazz bass 1.5 inches. This splits the difference really nice. Comfortable, and I think a lot of players would appreciate that. One thing I do notice here, and I don't think the Player 2s had this, are these like ultra tapered tuners, like the tuning shaft there. Like they're crazy wide, the entry points in that. Almost jarring looking at first when I saw it. I thought one of them was broken and like spanned out too far, but you know, that does help push the string down on the peg there, which is good for tuning stability as well. It also helps with sympathetic vibrations, which is when you don't have enough break angle past the nut, and it doesn't generally come through an amp generally, but you get that weird kind of, it almost sounds like snares on a snare drum ringing from vibration that you get going on past the nut there. There's ways to alleviate it, but having that ultra taper on the tuning shaft there is a nice way to kind of push that string tension down. So, but man, the passive tone's awesome in that. All right, so I've talked about PJ basses before. And what I was playing in the intro there was just on the P pickup there, which I personally would tend to use majority of the time. You know, I've had the struggles with the PJ configuration, but let's just walk through some tones, and I'll get into that real quick. So fingerstyle, let's double check the active and passive thing. Okay, cool. So down is passive. Yep. And up is active. So passive. I do have some things boosted on the active side, so let's turn those off a little bit. So everything kind of at the middle position there. Let's see if there's a gain jump, because that was something I complimented Fender on when they did the Ultra 2s. So we have it in passive here in the PJ configuration. It's going to be a little bit brighter than you're used to out of a P bass like this. Right, now we go to active. There's not a gain jump, but that does impart a little tonal difference on that, I'm noticing. Check it out. Passive. Active. Very, very slight. Now that we're playing through the Trickfish amp, nothing against the Fender Rumble. This is a pretty audiophile quality amp. I can hear just a slight difference in the tonality of it. Not enough that it would make me kind of second guess it though. So we're going to boost up. I'm not going to show that, actually with the tone knob, I think it is worth showing the passive, some passive tones. So let's start in passive then. Wide open. And then we go to P pickup. And then J pickup. Cool. I'm not going to use this bass in passive much. If I'm buying this bass, I'm buying it for the active electronics. I always say that about Fender stuff. That's just me. There's so many different ways to go about that. When I buy something with active electronics, I'm going to prefer to use it that way, hopefully. I'm buying it for the preamp, for the tone sculpting ability of it. Passive is great to have. Again, I always say this, it's a safety net. If you're on a gig, you're in the middle of a song, your battery starts going, you can flip over to the passive side of things, and you're not totally dropping out of the mix. So now we can roll some tone off on that. I'm going to go right just on the P pickup and just show that. Tone all the way off. And tone all the way on. Cool. One thing I do notice with this, the voicing of these pickups is bright. Certainly this isn't noiseless. This J pickup is noiseless, being that would be like a stacked coil, kind of basically constructed like a humbucker to eliminate some of the 60 cycle hum or the noise. Those pickups do have a tendency to me to be a little bit bright, a little bit brash. These do have that, so having the active electronics is really nice there. This isn't a noiseless pickup, but there is still an inherent brightness to that pickup. That upper mid-range, upper treble side of the EQ frequencies is really present in that. That might be great for you. For me, I'd want to roll some tone off. Kind of live around that spot, although you never get totally away from the personality of a pickup. Tone control all the way on, tone control all the way off. All right, that concludes the passive part of this program. We're going to flip into active. I'm going to boost bass just a touch. I'm going to leave treble where it's at. I'm going to boost bass, maybe 10, 15%. I'm going to leave mids where it's at. So all we really have right now is bass boosted and tone control still engaged here all the way up. So full tone. So that's your PJ sound. It's so hi-fi, reminds me of a Spectre, it reminds me of a Warwick, obviously still within the parameters of what you're going to expect out of a Fender. That's a tone I've always struggled with, because you think wide open, that's going to sound like a jazz bass, right? But it's not like a jazz bass. There is a different tonality to that, but I have found with a lot of experience that is an awesome pick sound when you don't hit a wide open string on that. That's why I love how piano-like, and it's a very full range sound right there, modern. And when you palm mute with it, it's very cool. We boost up a little bass. Let's get some frequencies going in this. Cut some tone. That's a great sound. And that's pickups wide open. This is where, to me, I think a PJ setup excels. Now let's roll just to the P. So now this precision bass is acting just like a precision bass. We're in a much more expected space. You still hear the tonality of these pickups. Again, even though this P pickup isn't a noiseless pickup, it doesn't need to be because it's split coils. There's no sense in making it noiseless. It's noiseless inherently. There's still a brightness to it. And again, we can roll that tone all the way off. that high-end frequency is still present in there. It's just muffled out, right? Now turn that tone all the way back up. So I'm gonna roll some tone off, and I'm gonna take the treble back. I'm gonna cut treble just a touch. Now, the beauty of the active electronics in that is that we have sculpted that back to kind of your normal P pickup, where just a tone control doesn't necessarily change the inherent quality of the pickup. An active electronic and cutting those frequencies, you're really eliminating some frequencies then from the sound spectrum, and it gets a little bit more in the traditional sense now. So kind of pure P-bass pickup with this basses and this line's kind of character to it. Then if we want to roll in some of that PJ character, actually all of the PJ character. It's funny how that active preamp really becomes a cure-all, because now that sound is a little bit more palatable to me fingerstyle wise, and it's a little bit more what I expect out of this body shape when I see a P body shape. I actually really like that. That's a nice hi-fi zingy kind of P-bass sound. It really does remind me of a Spectre. That sound is very Spectre reminiscent, Spectre adjacent, I should say. And then just the bridge pickup. That's exactly what you'd expect out of that bridge pickup. And with that noiseless, there's that brightness, there's that upper mid-range quality. I think this is in 60s position, it looks like to me. Could be wrong about that, but it sounds like it's 70s position. So again, EQ curve, and if you really want to lean into that, we boost up some mids. We can even boost a little bit of treble on that. I'm gonna take some bass up because I'm in this position. If you're in a solo situation or you want to turn this into a little bit more of a lead instrument, it's a good way to do it. Super bright, punchy harmonics there too. And then back to the original kind of spot there, where I love this bass, where I love all basses kind of this ilk. Midpoint on the mids, easy for me to say. Midpoint on the treble, and actually cut treble a touch I like, specifically on this, and boosting bass just a touch. And we'll go back to the P position, so just P pickup. Whoop, there we go. Knew something wasn't right there, my ears told me. Then PJ configuration, so middle position, and I like that most with a pick. then bridge position. In that case, I like boosting that mid just a little bit and add some low end back in. And then where we all want it, once again, P. Because if you don't have a good P bass, so to speak, basis of tone, and it's labeled a P bass, what really do you have there? So, cool bass. Kind of what I thought I was going to get out of this Fender lineup when I saw the mods being released. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way. But the big thing, we got a passive tone control. So if you are in a situation where you're playing this bass in passive, you do have some tone flexibility with that. Very, very cool. So, Player 2, modified Fender, brand new. 412-343-5299. You can email me directly. It's Anthony@empiremusic.com. See you next time. Thanks for watching.